Good morning, Crystal from the Rain Dance Ranch. Well, I guess it's almost noon, so good day. From Crystal from the Rain Dance Ranch. So today I want to talk about my squash and tomato plants. So first off, this is zucchini. I'm about to harvest this bad boy. And although I was thinking I might let it go to seed, and then because there's a bunch coming, and there'll probably be at least one or two of them. Well, this one will definitely be ready by Thanksgiving. Then I'll probably harvest this one at Thanksgiving, which is a week away. So this is the zucchini that had a really bad aphid infestation, like scary, freaked me out. Could cause PTSD in any gardener. Level of aphid infestation. And let's see, is there any on here? It looks like there's a couple kind of in the back. This leaf right here tends to get a lot of the aphids still. And there's usually like 3 to 6 aphids on it. So I've just been, for the first 3 days, they were still all over a lot of the leaves, but it was like there was like 5 or 10 or 3 on pretty much every leaf, except for maybe 5 of the little ones. And I just, every morning for like the first 3 days, hosed down the bottom of the leaves, and that seemed to work really good. And then I decided to wait a day without doing that and to see how fast they would proliferate, and they didn't really proliferate that much, but I still came out and sprayed. So I've been spraying them like every other day, and I ordered what are they called? Ladybugs. I ordered ladybugs last Friday, or was it Thursday? I can't remember what day I ordered it, but I ordered them about 3 days after I saw the infestation, and I was like, what do I want to do? Do I want to get chemicals? I don't know if I want to keep spraying, but you know what? The spraying thing wasn't that bad. And the plant just seemed to actually love the attention and all of the water. It just looks better than ever. It was like the aphids had no effect on them. I guess I got them just in the nick of time. But I'm really super stoked about how this did. And I do want to mention that I feel really bad. I can't recall the channel name. Let's just, look at the beauty of the garden while the plane's flying over. Beautiful garden. Little close-up of my serranos all turning red. Okay, I think it's gone enough. Now, I was watching a video before I ever had an infestation of aphids, and this was like a year ago, and there was a guy who's apparently an entomologist on YouTube, and he said that if you have too much nitrogen, then your plants are more likely to have aphids. Or there's some other bug that kind of thrips. I can't remember if it was thrips or aphids are attracted to plants that have too much nitrogen, more so than plants that have just the right amount. Little interesting little tidbit. And the interesting thing is that in this bin I have planted peas, which I believe will add nitrogen. And I don't have any insect repelling plants near this one, because this is the one that was most affected by the aphids. This one, I sprayed this down 3 times and it hardly, I haven't even seen an aphid over here. And this one has petunias, which are aphid detractors or any kind of bug, a lot of bug detractor. And there's also a rosemary kind of in the vicinity, which is another detractor, and this basil is a detractor, and so this one's big, although I don't know if these are close enough to have a positive effect. But it's just interesting that the plant that has the insect detracting plants closest to it did a little better. And this one doesn't have any detractors except for the basil, and that's kind of a far distance, and it's getting potentially extra nitrogen from these peas. So that brings me to another observation. Here, this tomato was planted after these tomatoes, and they were all sown at the same time, but I had willy-nilly up potting with them. They weren't all up potted at an even rate, and so I don't know, there's many different factors that could be involved in the reason why this tomato is taking off like gangbusters. And this could have been the tomato that I up-potted one tomato, and I think this was it. This is the one, but I'm not sure, so don't count on this, but I'm definitely going to be paying attention to this in the future. The earlier you up-pot the tomatoes, you're going to get bigger growth faster. Kind of like same rule kind of applies for, well, it definitely applies for sunflowers. Like, you can't leave them, they might be fine in a little pot and they're growing, and maybe there's some advantages to it if you want a dwarfed plant. And to tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind a few dwarf tomatoes and other dwarfed plants that might get a little bigger in the spring, because I can get them growing in the winter, and they're easier to cover with like a plastic clear-ish or even a dark one is fine. Another bin turned over, like a little, greenhouse in place kind of situation. So like this one, I may be able to cover this with a plastic cover if we have a freeze, but I don't know if that's really going to be possible. I'm definitely going to be covering my basil here with like some plastic containers when we have a freeze, because I definitely want those to just keep on going as long as possible. And they're going to be harvested down, so they'll be easy to cover. Hopefully you're understanding. You can see that visual, or I'm explaining myself well enough. But then the other thing, in addition to this one probably having been up potted, I used Mycorrhizae which is a fungus that creates a web that will interconnect all of the roots in wherever you've planted it, wherever you've put that mycorrhiza, or wherever that mycorrhiza has taken hold, and it will spread, and it creates sort of like an internet connection between all the plants, and it helps run nutrition wherever it needs to go. Essentially, that's what I've been told. And then also I have peas in here as well. So this is getting nitrogen. It had mycorrhizae. It was up potted sooner. Plus, on top of all that, this soil, I created these pots in last spring, like the first part of May, maybe the end of April. So it was kind of late spring for Phoenix. And I had Robbie and Gary, who do a lot of container gardening, they live in Southern California, and they don't put holes on the bottom of their bins because they have a problem with tree roots coming up into their bins and interfering with whatever they have growing in their bins. And they put a lot of their bins on the ground. And I don't really have that problem, and my bins are raised. But I wanted to try that method and see if it worked, and maybe it would help create more nutrition for the plants, or it would help maintain moisture in the planter. And so when I made these, I only had holes on the side here. So they were kind of stinky. The sunflowers I planted in them didn't do real well. Plus, I had put a very small amount, like maybe a half a cup of crushed charcoal that had not been charged, which I knew was a no-no, but I just wanted to put a little in because I knew that it would be a problem. It could potentially be a problem down at the bottom of these without that full-on drainage. I mean, we get like 115 degrees. I have no idea how hot it gets inside of there. But I thought that the charcoal could sort of help with the whatever composting is going on down at the bottom. There's also wood chips down at the bottom as well. So I put like wood chips and then a little bit of soil, and then I just kind of mixed in charcoal on top of that soil, on top of the wood chips. So a lot of the charcoal probably went down. And then just regular soil on top. And I don't remember what I amended in there. I think I definitely did regular old granulated fertilizer in there, and then I stuck in some sunflower seeds, and the sunflower seeds did not do well. I don't know if it was the soil, the time of year. There was a those white fly infestations. I have no idea why they didn't do good, but I mean, there was just, everything was going against the sunflowers. And it was super hot. So the sunflowers, some of them kind of flowered and they were real wimpy looking, and I kind of cut them down after I let them run their course, and I left the roots in there. And so then in October, I decided, well, I'm just gonna put holes in the bottom. Just want the holes in the bottom. I just don't want to have to worry about that. And I figured that the charcoal got charged up all summer long, sitting in here composting with whatever the heck was happening down there that made them stinky. And then I had a couple of these broken bins over here that were filled with soil for a year that had been hugelkultured, let's just say. I had put wood chips and logs in those broken bins, as you can see that right there. I can't tell if it's coming up on the picture. So I used the soil that was in here all summer and mixed it with some of that hugelkultur soil, and then most everything I planted in here I put mycorrhizae with the root transplants. So this tomato had everything going for it. It was up potted at the right time. Actually, it probably could have even been up potted a little sooner. It has peas that I'm thinking are adding nitrogen. It had the mycorrhizae. It has developed soil. And then I also put, I can't remember if I put azomite in there, but I definitely put bat guano in there as well when I planted these. And then I think I did bat guano. I've done bat guano twice. I'm doing a little bit of bat guano at the beginning of every month. Although I may switch to something else. And I'm not using any like Miracle-Gro granulated synthetic fertilizers. That or I haven't been, mostly because I just don't have them. But I do have some that I might use. It's the kind with the more phosphorus in it, the flower blooming kind. I don't know. I might use it just because I have it and I really want to. The only thing that I'm disappointed with this plant is there's actually not a lot of flowers. So, whereas these little ones are getting a lot of flowers. So that's something. So that's another reason why I think this is getting a lot of nitrogen, and that has a lot to do with why this is doing well. And I need to add that synthetic fertilizer for the blooming with the high phosphorus. Okay, I think I covered everything that I wanted to talk about. But because of this aphid situation, it has really, really told me that planting flowers in amongst your vegetables and fruiting plants and all that is a great idea, which I knew it was, and I just feel even more affirmed. But yeah, super stoked about the zucchini. I can't even believe it. I can't wait to get the rest of my bins up. I really, I gotta go to work, and I have my wonderful family coming over for Thanksgiving, and I just want to enjoy this time. And I'm just doing a little bit every day, but most of my effort is actually taking place out front right now, and it's a full moon tonight. It's Friday the 16th of November, and we have a full moon at some point here in the next 24 hours. Oh, look, a tomato. I need to get out here and water. Everything's starting to look wilty. Wait, where is it? Is it showing? Yep. Super stoked. So I am planting a bunch of seeds when I get done with this video, and then I need to go to work, and I don't know what I'm going to get done in the next week back here or even out front, but I've got a few little things that I'd like to squeeze in and get done, and it's such a perfect time for gardening and working in the yard, but it's also family time, and that's super important to me, and I can't wait to see my granddaughter and my son who lives in California, and my other son is going to be coming by with one of his frat brothers from college, and it's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And I'm going to be making one of the chickens that I got from the Edge of Nowhere farm, so I'll probably do a little video about that. But just all this work has paid off. All right, Crystal from the Rain Dance Ranch. When it rains, go out and dance.